प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने संसद में सवाल उठाते हुए ये कह दिया कि पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री इंदिरा गांधी ने मिजोरम पर फायरिंग करवाई थी और उसके साथ मिजोरम के मुख्यमंत्री क्या कहते हैं। जोरामथंगा हमारे साथ हैं। यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड अबाउट व्हाट द ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज सेड इन हिज स्पीच इन द पार्लियामेंट। यू वर अ पार्ट ऑफ द एमएनव and you still are. You were a part of the revolution at that time. What exactly happened and how true is the incident?
Well, on the 5th of March 1966, the Indian Air Force jet fighter bombed the capital town of Aizawl, main bazaar, burning everything and destroying all those things. Not only Aizawl, many of the important towns in Mizoram were also bombed by the jet fighter. And at that time, we were a little ignorant of the happenings in outside world. So we just took it for granted that, well, it is the big government of India and they can do anything. So that kind of a simple idea that the Mizo people are having. But later on we learned that these kind of things never happen, especially in the internal problems in which the central government used the Air Force to fight them. So that was there, and all the bazaars, all the bara bazaars there, it was burned.
In the entire history of independent India, this is the only incident when the Indian Air Force bombed Indian civilians in Indian territory. How shocking was that for you?
Well, you know, in those days, in 1966, the people of Mizoram and myself just believed that, well, after all, being ignorant of the world other happenings, this is how it should be. We simply took it as it is. But now, when days are coming, when you understand more and more of how the world runs, then we're really surprised, we're amazed to learn that in the internal affairs of the country, an Air Force bomb jet fighter fighting against its own citizens like that, in the capital town bombing and like this. Well, the days gone by, and then when times came, it became more stranger and stranger every day.
Do you remember who was the Prime Minister? Why did it happen? Why was it happening? And what was the reaction when you did approach them?
Well, it was the time of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And then the reaction that goes on there is that at that time Mizoram was a district. And then we are under the state of Assam. So the Legislative Assembly was in Assam capital. That was in Shillong. So in the assembly, quite a lot of those assembly members are shouting, saying that why did you drop the bombs there in Mizoram? And then the answer simply was that we are just dropping there, not the bomb, but the rice and other essential commodities. The answer was there. But you see, later on, when those legislator came to Mizoram and took a piece of those bombs and then show it to the Assam Legislative Assembly, saying that, is this the rice that you drop for the people of Mizoram? The people of Mizoram says that it's very difficult to eat. That is what they said. So sarcastically, they said all these things in the Legislative Assembly of Assam.
What is your take on the Prime Minister Narendra Modi sharing the entire episode in the Parliament for the first time, acknowledging what exactly happened?
Please repeat your question.
What is your take on the Prime Minister Narendra Modi explaining the entire episode in the Parliament and stating what exactly happened? Do you feel justice has been denied to the people of Mizoram for decades now?
Well, Mizoram was the most disturbed state, disturbed place at that time in 1966. I went on the ground in 1966. Between 1966, 67, 68, 69. You see, and in one evening in a village, a major which commands a troop of 100 soldiers or so arrived at a village and told them that, look here, all the people here should move and shift to the next grouping center. So you should shift. So they have to carry what they can, their bedding and other things. So the whole population moved to the next village, and sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 villages were concentrated there, and it were fenced like an army barrack. An army came with a pointed bamboo fencing. So they were given the cart, and when they have to go to their field for the work that they have to do every day, they have to be given the ticket, that kind of a ticket. But because they are grouping different from different villages, they have to go to a very far place to work there in their jum. So they have to come back late in the evening, which the soldier did not permit. So of all the incidents that I have heard, I understand that in Malaysia, long time ago, no, rather when it was still a Malaya, in order to combat the communist underground people, the people themselves suggested that there should be a regrouping of the villages. That was the only example I understand that there was such kind of a grouping. But even that in Malaya grouping, it was at the request of the people. But here in Mizoram, we call it concentration camp, like the Jews during the Hitler period. It was one of the cruelest things that the army had done in 1966, 67, 68, 69. I was a witness of that.
You were a part of the movement also. What is the cruelest memory you have of that movement and the response of the government?
Well, right from the beginning, burning of the villages, then bombing by the Air Force, and then mass raping of the women, and then killing of those people with even the slightest suspicion. Life really has no value. Now Armed Forces Special Power Act are enforced in Manipur, Assam, sometimes in here in other places. But comparing with the Armed Forces Special Power Act, which was enforced during the 1966, 67, 68, the present enforcement is nothing. At that time, it was like the cruelest period of the Second World War.
We understand that Manipur also is seeing crisis, and you have spoken on the issue multiple times. What is your present take on the situation in Manipur, given that a lot of Kukis have taken shelter in Mizoram?
Well, there was a big political division now between the Manipur tribal people and then the Meitei people there. Now I feel, for example, quite a good number of the tribal officers, even the DGP and police officers, IAS officers, they have a house site in Imphal and in the plain area. But now nobody dare to live there. It's too dangerous. Even the DGP dare not live there in the beginning. So now, suppose even a tribal officer who has millions and billions of rupees having a house site in Imphal, will he ever dare to build his house there again? I doubt it. In order to be able to dare to build that house in Imphal, how many decades it will need, I do not know.
What is your advice to the Manipur Chief Minister, N. Biren Singh?
Well, you see, what I am intending to say is that at present, the wound between the tribal Manipur people and the wound with the Meitei people, the wound is too deep now. It cannot be healed by the painkiller or outside painkiller application of local anesthesia. It needs a kind of political operation. So in order to do this, Government of India is the main person. Government of India and then the tribal people of Manipur and the Manipur government will have to decide.
What was your first reaction and response after hearing the speech of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Parliament, especially focusing on Mizoram and Northeast?
Well, I simply said that it's a good thing that all those horrible things that we have suffered during those days, the Prime Minister has openly said in the Parliament. I am very pleased to learn that.
Also understanding that this is also a political war, do you see that it is Congress versus BJP in the Parliament, where Mizoram is being utilized as one of the sources of presentation?
Well, it may be a political war between BJP and Congress, but for us, we are the victims. Thousands of Manipur refugees, our brothers and sisters, came to Mizoram and hundreds of people were killed. And then on the side of the Métis also, they also suffer. That was the fact. And so both the Métis and the tribal people of Manipur are concerned and suffer. So this has to be solved. And then the only doctor which can operate successfully this is central government of India.
Do you have faith in the present government in the centre and Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
Well, I have a great faith in the present government of India and Prime Minister Modi. We were together the Chief Minister, Opposition Chief Minister for 10 years or more. During the Congress regime in Delhi, we are very good friends with Mr. Modi. And so I have a great faith in him. I believe as far as the upliftment and then development of India is concerned, Prime Minister Modi is number one among all the Prime Ministers of India.
Why do you say so?
Well, everybody knows, because from a very poor country where India was like a big latrine, like one tourist had made a comment, from a big latrine, he has made into a clean and beautiful India. And the economic development, from the 5th position, it has come up to this. Within a short time, the economy of India may come up to at least up to the big 3, the big 4, maybe. Therefore, of all the Prime Minister that India is having, Prime Minister Modi is number one as far as the development and upliftment of India is concerned.
Do you feel people of Mizoram have been given justice by the central government over the past few years, since last century?
When you say simply justice, it may refer to different corners. There are areas in which we are a little aggrieved, we are annoyed. There are areas in which we are really pleased with the government of India.
You're coming up with the elections in next few months. What is the preparation and how confident are you of winning this time?
Well, we hope that we shall certainly be able to form the government. Now I am forming the government with a 2/3 majority. I believe that with all the, even though the great difficulty I have during the COVID period, financial burden, refugees coming from Myanmar, thousands, refugees coming from Bangladesh, refugees coming from Manipur, and with the African swine fever and all these bad things happen together. Nevertheless, the people of Mizoram says that had it not been the MNF government led by Mr. Zoramthanga, how great would be the great suffering that we will be having. At least we survive, and a lot of development is still going on. With that kind of comment, which I believe is really in the heart of the people of Mizoram, we shall be able, by the grace of God and with the help of the people, we shall be able to form the government, certainly, comfortably.
Well, it is an interesting battle that is coming up in the days to come. फिलहाल देखना दिलचस्प होगा कि कौन जीतेगा कौन हारेगा, लेकिन राजनीति मिजोरम के लिए पूरे देश में अब जारी है। कैमरा पर्सन सूरज पांडे के साथ मनोज्ञा लोईवाल, मिजोरम आइजॉल, एबीपी न्यूज।